Hi, I'm Seamless, and today is Wednesday, which actually means, for actual real, that it's time for viewer track reviews. This is the first one that I've done in over a year, and it's pretty great that we're doing this again. It's pretty great. This video is brought to you by SeamlessR, and they wish to tell me that there is a free thing that they're giving you. I wish I knew where I put it. Did I put it in here? I think I did. I did. Okay. Home Depot drums. This is, remember the last one I did where they were giving away the Walmart drums? Well, this is the Home Depot drums, where they ran around Home Depot and they hammered on a whole bunch of stuff, probably with actual literal hammers because they're in Home Depot. And got a bunch of stuff. It's pretty great Foley, and I have to imagine it's handy for industrial music because it's literally a bunch of industrial stuff in a warehouse. Go figure. Anyway, be sure to click on the link in the description of this video, which will bring you to the place where you can go to get the thing that's free from SeamlessR. Anyway, this is the viewer track reviews. If you want to have your track reviewed, then go also in the link in the video description. In the description of this video, there is a link to my website, SeamlessR.com. Remember that, why don't you? And there's on the contact page the submission side, and in there's a whole bunch of instructions. Follow the freaking instructions. First and foremost, name your freaking track, please. Because even though with all of this, I'm still. Oh boy, that was the primary problem with the first track from scratch viewer track reviews, where people would send me tracks and they'd be named stuff, actually, and I quote, "housey thing finished." That's what it's called. Don't know who made it. Don't even know if it's a thing. It's apparently finished, but not with a name. I mentioned in that list of things that she should be doing, instructions on that page on the website, that you can use SoundCloud links and stuff. And when you use that, you have to enable downloads, and you have to also name the file, because when I click the download, it's going to give me the file that you uploaded. It's not going to name the file for you, even if you name the SoundCloud page or any other SoundCloud-like service. So please remember that. Anyway, the format that these are going to do is I'm going to do 4 of these, 4 tracks rather, per review. And also, actually, let me tell you my schedule, because I have that. I'm going to do the viewer track reviews on Wednesdays and Sundays. So it's twice a week. So it's going to be kind of a lot of these. I'm going to do 4 tracks per video. And there's going to be a very specific 4. There's going to be 2 that I kind of like and 2 that I think are kind of dumb. And there's going to be varying degrees of that because I guarantee you I will find something to say about all of these. Anyway, we're going to do this, and we're going to begin with this track that's called No Mercy by, I want to say, Super Wet, because that's what the thing says on the file, which is one of the few that were actually named properly. Anyway, we are going to listen through the whole song, so let's be ready for that. Here we go. So yeah, that was pretty cool. I like that track, kind of a lot. There's like a few things that bug me. The vocal in there, it's like just shy of being like just all right, but it's just so hokey. It's so hokey. Also, I'm gonna be really mad if that's the thing that gets me a copyright ID on this video, because part of the rules, that huge list of rules I have for the thing, is really mostly to avoid getting caught with people who give me copyright infringing stuff, because I don't want to do that. I want to be able to make money off my videos, you guys. My God, am I getting a cold for real this time? But anyway, great. Everything about this was pretty cool. Like, if this was the track that went out, I would have totally believed it. I would have believed that this was a real track. I think that the snare is a little too, like, center. It's, like, in the middle. It's like there's not a single bit of, like, ambient feeling to it at all. It makes you feel like it's not even in the track. If only because, you know, of the side chaining about and everything else that I think that's actually there. And boy, is that side chaining hard. Like, I don't even have to play it. You can see it. It's insane. The sound design is good, and actually there's a few rhythmic parts of this that I like a lot. It reminds me of that one track by Carpenter Brett, Roller Mobster, which was on the Miami 2 soundtrack. In very particular, this section. I mean, that's not it. Looks like it though. Maybe this one. Hey, there it is. It's not the same exact rhythm, but the kind of the offset of like the really hard hit kick with the like the particular kind of like fullness that the sound design has. I feel like it's a little too, it could be a bit too harsh in the high frequencies, but it's not that bad. Like, you can actually see that it's pretty okay. It rolls off, you know, before the MP3 eats it, but it rolls off and it's all right. But you can kind of see how this is just this huge hole in the middle with a lot of these sounds. And some of them get filled with other stuff, like one of these, or that thing, that what? And it kind of goes up in there. But like when that's not there, it feels just real kind of in the middle. I like the weird jangly stuff that happens every once in a while. That's a little bit interesting. There's a lot going on here. Look at that. Looks like a weird H.R. Geiger-esque thing going on almost. And some of you might not have any idea what I'm talking about, but that's okay. Anyway, that's this track. Good fucking job. Super Wet, if that's your real name. Super Wet, No Mercy. I'm trying to figure out where to put this stuff, because like I want to put it here. I can see it, but no one else can. Put it there. It's kind of really weirdly in the middle. I guess it doesn't actually matter. As long as I select this, I can hit play and stop, kind of whenever. All right, so let's do the next one. That was one that I thought was pretty good, and this one I might actually think is still pretty good, but I'm erring on the side of what, and you'll understand why. See, because I know that a lot of people liked the track reviews because there's a high chance I was going to review things that were just spectacularly bad. And this one, the difference between the old ones and this one is that these are being pre-recorded, whereas the other ones are live. So this time I can actually kind of vet the things before I play them, so it's a little bit better about that. But I remember what the entertainment value was. I should probably tell you what this is called. The file name says Bonsai Jodelfish. And I looked at the details of the actual, like, thing. Oh, yeah, and the artist is just called Bonsai. The title is Clip with 2 P's. And it's from the album Fuck You. So, neat. Here we go. So that was that song. I like the beat. Mostly like the sort of breaky bit moments like this. Reminds me a lot of things I used to do when I first started producing. I didn't understand volume. Although I have to imagine this guy's a little bit more deliberate. I like moments where like things just kind of cut out randomly. Like the first time this thing showed up. See, because I listen to these tracks ahead of time, right? But I kind of like A&R listen to them, where I listen to them for about 40 seconds, maybe maximum 10 seconds most of the time, to just validate that they're actually things that exist, and maybe to find infringing things. But then like this happens. Just look at this. This looks like a I don't know what, like some kind of codec error, because of the way that like this is all still here and that's happening like that. It's just like super, like a huge black hole just came and ate that moment of the track. It just feels like it broke for a second, but a lot of things feel that way in the song, and that's what I like about it. I like that a lot. And then there's this moment where like the samples actually kind of hang for a second, where it's like, oh, it was maybe intentional that moment stopped, whereas most of the other ones kind of feel like they break. And this I thought was funny, the phaser on the distortion on the organ. Or maybe there's just noise, I can't tell, it's so fuzzed, so fuzzy. Yeah. I honestly thought this track was going to be a piece of shit when I first started listening to it, but now I'm like, I'm on board with this. All right, this next one is called Completion by Traxel, Traxell. Kind of like Excel, but Traxel. Now, you may know that some of these, I think actually one of these is a wave, but most of these are MP3s. And you can like very visibly see the difference between an MP3 and a wave, but you can't really hear the difference all that well. And I mean, I could, but then this is going on YouTube, so that means that you're getting an MP3 anyway. So don't really worry about that, if you are. But that was a fun track. This one is one of the more solid ones. This is about as solid as the big old electro-y thing that happened earlier. In fact, these two were originally the ones that were going to be like, these are the ones I like. And the other two, I mean, that incredible noise track that we did beforehand, didn't really expect that to be as good. But this track is just like so on point. Everything about this is like where it needs to be. And it just feels like the guy that made this knew what he was doing about specifically happening here. Now, I don't know if you were noticing, but I indicated the vector scope over here and the oscilloscope earlier. And that's because when you listen to parts like this, or is it this? Where is it? Where did it happen? Had to have been here. Yeah, it was right here. So during this bit where the sort of square bit came in, notice that most of the time when we see the vector scope, we see like this. There's like a lot of like, it's more granular. It's very noisy, and that's because we're looking at higher frequency spatial, material. And in this part, there's just not a lot of high frequency activity. There's plenty, and it's nice and sharp in terms of just like individual hits and that kind. So it fills out at the high end, but the mids and the lows are really carrying this moment. And giving me 8 FPS while I'm doing it for some reason. Oh, it's because it's so huge. It's supposed to zooming in. Yeah. Or not. Come on, computer, I believe in you. This is a very chill track, but it gets weight. It has weight to it. And I dig it. I dig it a lot. So good job, Track Cell. So now Ups and Downs is what this one's called. No idea who made it. But let's real quick look at the properties, see what it says about artists. Doesn't say a damn thing. It's because it's a WAV file, so it doesn't have, ID3 tags. Not that it needs to be, but, like I said, name your damn files right. I don't actually remember what this one sounds like, but we're about to find out. Oh. Now we get the full FPS. Whatever. So, okay. This was very clearly one of the ones that I picked because I thought it was not necessarily the greatest and I wanted to say things about it. So, this one, I don't know how low the bass is, but I don't think it needs to be that low. In fact, considering how very high and light everything is in this track, I think it would serve you to pick a key where the sub is actually pretty high too, because I didn't really feel much of it going on. Even though I could see it's there, I could totally tell it's there, but that's too low for it to be whatever it is. So yeah. Although, like, when I was watching this, I was sort of mentally making notes about what I want to talk about. I was going to say that the melody was getting kind of stale by the time I got to the drop, and then you made a variation, so good on you about that. There's way too much high frequency stuff going on, like every second. Just so much. It's like so much noise, and like I get, you know, the genre like this has a lot of like lots of like breaky cymbals and hats and things and loops and stuff that we like to use to put in there, but just turn it down. And like it's causing you to compensate a bit too much. Although I guess these are actually just hats. Because these you did this again earlier, like later. Although I can see now that this is actually a hat layer on there. But like you are like that kick and like that snare having to hit that hard. Like they're mixed way too high on the high end to compete with this. Because when it's all playing, that feels normal because compete in the mix with that kind of stuff, and that's just a problem. I'm not necessarily against the drums being as quiet and not as impactful as they could be, but that's only because of just how much high frequency stuff there is. If you lowered that down a bit and you kind of sparsed it out a bit, then I feel like the balance would make sense. It would make a lot more sense for that to happen that way. I can barely tell. In fact, I can't tell at all if you're doing any amount of sidechaining. I think you're doing it on the sub, so good job there. Actually, it looks like your kick doesn't even go like low enough to interact with the sub. So was that what you did? Did you high pass the kick so that it didn't interact with the sub for that? Was that your idea of mixing? Is that the kick sub? I mean, I am listening to this very quietly, so I guess I'm not hearing what all I'm hearing, but that's why I have this visual here. And like, even though I should point out, even though I am listening to this at like 10% monitoring volume, this kind of hurt. Like, especially just how hard this lead is. And this lead is not bad. And also, honestly, the arrangement not bad. The musical part of this is fine. It's a little dull. It gets kind of annoying. Long before this variation happens, and perhaps maybe you should do that like on the second half of this guy, so that you have like A and B to go back to, call and response kind of stuff. So that's something to consider. Although this genre of music is sort of known for its like steadfast grooves that it goes on for, you know, a long time, and that's just how we listen to it. So that's fine. Maybe that's what you want to do. Just be aware that it doesn't necessarily work in this instance. Yeah. Other than that, though, maybe pick a key where the sub is high enough. Because listen to the songs that this reminds you of, and I guarantee you a lot of them are a lot higher than that. Unless you just, because like yeah, see that's way too low. Because you could have sub down there, and some systems can replicate that, but not so many. And if you are going to go down that low, you want to have more higher harmonics. You want to have your sub be more than just a sine wave. You want to have a little bit of saturation in there. Have some of the square wave series in there, so that you have sort of signaling higher harmonics, which are there so that when you do go down that low, we can still kind of tell what the note is because we hear the higher harmonics that are left. That kind of thing. More sidechaining also. That's just because, I mean, it doesn't hit as hard as I would have it hit, but that's just a personal preference. And given how sausage this is, you can tell, you know, the baseball bat going on down here. And while we're playing, that like loudness was apparently something you wanted, but impact kind of was left behind. Yeah, so whoever wrote this track, that's called Ups and Downs. That was my advice to you. Anyway, this has been the 7th viewer track review. If you have any questions about this, please let me know. Most of them will be answered at my website, SeamlessR.com, on the contact page under the submissions section, where I detail like all the rules about what you want to do if you want to submit your track to be reviewed or to be put on a live mix later. I haven't actually decided when I'm going to do live mixes, but I am gonna eventually. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to check out the Cymatics link in the description of this video as well. And as usual, have a nice day. That was a lot of stuff to say.